What's kind of the emotions you feel when you look at your house?
Oh, I feel sad.
Kind of a symbol of times that were a little bit more equitable.
Definitely. Just, I was in my late 20s when they lost the house, so a lot of memories.
And what about you? What happened to you?
Recently, it's really interesting. For immigration purposes, I had to provide my tax returns for several years, and I guess I didn't even realize how much money I was making back then. At this point, I'm probably making $10,000 less a year than I was in '08 or '09. At that time, I was working in medical debt collection, so I'm calling people about their bills that need.
People like that.
We were really nice. You catch more flies with honey than vinegar, so I was very kind. But the only way that I made money after a while was by going after the insurance companies and personal injury attorneys to make sure that they paid their fair share. But that was a commission-based job. And so when the money really started to dip, you can call your debtors all day long, but if they don't have two pennies to rub together, you're not going to make any commission. They can't pay their bills. And on a personal level, I felt just awful calling these people at that point. We knew everybody was laid off and not working.
The longest line here at Great America Friday was not for the roller coaster, but rather for a job.
But that affected us too. I went and got a job in the school system, which was maybe $15 an hour, but 180 days out of the year. I didn't work all the time. So we really have struggled since then to try to find, I've struggled to try to find my footing.
And were you displaced as well? Did you have a home that you had to move?
We were renting a very nice home in a town south of here called Goshen. It was a 3-bedroom home, finished basement, garage, large yard for the girls. But I couldn't pay the rent on that anymore.
And you're a single mother?
I am a single mom.
Mm-hmm. So in the community here, I read the New York Times piece, and it, if you don't get an email from someone like you kind of saying otherwise, most people would think, things are on the upswing. Have things been kind of lost in the community, shut down, things like that?
We did lose our YMCA. I think there were some politics involved.
And why was that shut down?
We were told that the local YMCA couldn't come into agreements with the national YMCA and a whole bunch of politics. I don't know that we'll ever really know why this is closed. But this is pretty disappointing because this is the one place where they were income based. So I could come here and I went swimming when I was pregnant, and I would run in the treadmills where it says youth department. There was a daycare there, so I could leave the girls and I could go in the back and run, and they offered youth soccer leagues and basketball, and the kids in the area could get in for free, based on their family income, and the community lost that, and we don't know why. But either way, there's no more community center like that. There's one youth center. I'm sure it's underfunded, and that's it. There's no other places to go or things to do for the kids. The Boys and Girls Club is trying really hard to get active in the community. But you can see there's just abandoned houses from the people who lost those homes and could never go back. There's abandoned buildings and factories still to this day.
Because the reports out there say home equity is actually up in Elkhart County since 2008 and 9.
I would think that's possibly true for those who have a home. But how many people lost their homes and are still living with family? A lot of extended families consolidated into homes together. How many people don't have the credit to go get a new house? I heard on the radio that the contractors feel comfortable now building more houses. I don't know who on earth is obtaining these mortgages and getting these homes. But I do know that there are a lot of people who lost their houses and are still in rentals. Again, these houses used to be really big, historic houses or nice houses built after the war, I would imagine, and now they're pretty run down. And I know that these are all rental properties.
Can't be renting for more than a couple $100.
$300 or $400. Yeah, I would imagine the studios that are upstairs are $200 or $300. You can tell how bad the housing situation is because some of these downstairs 3-bedroom apartments in these houses, they want $700 and $800 a month for them. To me, that just doesn't make any sense.
No, they're not. They're not worth that.
No, but now you get into nice houses again. Once you get away from downtown, then you'll start to see all these houses are really nice houses.
And this is approaching where you grew up?
We're getting close to there, yeah. And this was in a different elementary school district, but we all went to middle school and high school together, so we're getting close there.
Yeah, it seems like there's not a lot of separation from disheveled looking areas and more normal suburbia.
Right. I think it's interesting because in a neighborhood, you might have that one neighbor that doesn't keep up their yard or keep up their house, and so you have that random house. But I think in these neighborhoods, it just goes from haves and have-nots and kind of back and forth. So when you're looking for a house, like this is called Strong Avenue, you always want to pay attention to which end of Strong Avenue it is, because what we just drove through, on that end of that neighborhood is not where somebody would want to live. But these are nice little houses down here on this end of the neighborhood.
Right.
So it's really weird when someone will say there's a house for rent on Fulton Avenue. You want to check out which part of Fulton it is. And it can't be but a mile long, but there's a big difference.
Might be a silly measure, but a measure of a neighborhood sometimes these days is does it have a Starbucks, or does it have these a little more upscale commercial outlets? I'm not seeing any of those around
There's
here.
none. No. The grocery stores all have a Starbucks inside of them, but that's
Okay.
a grocery store that costs a lot more money than Walmart and Kroger. So I don't shop at that grocery store.
Right.
So yeah, there is a real lack of even just popular restaurants and shopping places. Like you said, they are south of here on the way to Goshen, or they're in St. Joe County. Everybody pretty much goes over to Mishawaka.
When you reached out to me, you had spoken about the fact that it seems like there's wealthy places to live and mobile places to live.
There seems to be a huge gap. Even, pre-recession, we were able to rent a 2-bedroom house or a 3-bedroom house for $800 or so, and they were in nice neighborhoods or working family neighborhoods. The kids could all play outside together. If you look now on Craigslist or the rental places, $800 or $900 is going to get you something in a not very nice or safe neighborhood where I wouldn't want to put my kids there if I didn't have to. What
kind of areas are there that you feel threatened?
There was recently a murder in the one neighborhood a couple of weeks ago, and that's not the first murder that's happened down there in that area. So they're just having some issues. We're perfectly situated between Detroit and Chicago, so we have a lot of drug dealing and trafficking that goes through this area. And you have a lot of poverty and therefore crime because those folks don't have jobs or they're working minimum wage jobs, and it's just a normal inner city area. But now those houses are going for $800 or $900 a month, where you previously could get a really nice rental house for that much. The 3 bedrooms, 1,000, 1,500 square foot houses now, they want $1,600 or $1,800. Even my dad and I combined couldn't move us all into one of those together. That's crazy to me that it's that much now.
You're a single mother. You're working now in HR. If you don't mind, per year, approximately what range do you make?
I make $37,000 a year. After taxes, I bring home $490 a week. When you take $780 for this home, plus the trash and recycling, it's got some utilities included, my car payment and insurance, and 4 weeks out of the month of daycare, I'm left with $149 to pay my bills, to purchase food, to put gas in the car. You're constantly robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Do you have any student loans or any other costs?
I have probably $30,000 in student loans right now, and I'm sure thousands of dollars in medical bills.
So as directly as I could ask, how mentally are you? Not in terms of anything nefarious, but obviously that's a stressful situation.
It's really stressful. I feel like not that money makes you happy, but if you're not constantly thinking about how much is in the bank account and that minus 10, minus 25, what are you going to be left with? I think is a little more relaxing.
When you see media reports every month saying, oh, unemployment is, at 5% and people are re-entering the workforce and there's more of a positive message being sent out about the economy, do you feel like there's a disconnect between what Washington, what the lawmakers, what the economists think about the economy and what you and, people here feel?
Absolutely. I think when they look at those numbers, they don't take into consideration people who are taking any job they can get. And so it's a lot lower pay or they're working 2 jobs or whatever it is they're doing to stay afloat. I think they just look at that 5% or whatever the percentage is, and they don't look at how it's actually affecting people. I think one thing is a lot of folks in this area were surviving on unemployment benefits. The maximum is like $300 a week, and people were just living off of that for years, but at a certain point they cut off unemployment benefits. And Indiana has gotten really good about, we're going to cut the food stamps, and now we're going to cut the TANF, and they just keep chopping all the benefits away. That forces people to go out and get jobs that they're overqualified for and that don't pay their bills. For
you personally, what have you sacrificed? Do you feel like your children haven't gotten to experience certain things you want them to experience?
I think there are a lot of times where they're used to hearing me say no. Like my parents pointed out the other day, they took my toddler to the store and they said she didn't ask for anything because they're used to it. There's no, oh, look, you like that Barbie? Let's go ahead and get that. There's so many necessities that we need that I think, I would love to take them to Chicago and go to the Museum of Science and Industry like I did when I was a kid. Participate in swimming teams or swimming lessons. Gymnastics is what my oldest has been asking about. We can't afford that type of stuff. If it's not through the school and it doesn't cost very much through the school, then we can do it. But if it's not, it's just not in the cards for us.
Mm-hmm. With these media reports and them talking about home equity up and, that they use the individual that they used in 2008 to represent Elkhart. On paper, there seems to be benefits from what they're saying, but you're saying it's only to the business owners. Has business here done anything for its workers since they've come back? Your wages are down, but have you seen more jobs being created here since then?
I actually know friends who are getting pink slips like now from the RV industry. Within the past couple of weeks, several have started laying people off. So I don't know that they're creating jobs. I'm pretty sure they're cutting jobs right now.
Why do you think that is if you're saying that the business owners are doing well?
The orders must be down, or unfortunately I've heard this from companies, which I think is really distasteful, but they refer to the stockholders, the shareholders. They say, well, we had to choose this insurance plan because we just have to keep the shareholders happy, and that really discourages me. I work in HR, I love the people, and I'm there for the people, and so I think that if you take care of your employees, they will take care of your customers, therefore your shareholders. But I think I'm in the minority thinking that. Mm-hmm. So people worry about the bottom dollar, and to heck with the employees. Mm-hmm. I know some companies are really big on charity and community service, and they like to keep up being involved in the community. But I also hear grumbling from the employees. You guys want us to donate to this, you want us to participate in this event, but what about our families?